Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to Mod Extra Games and Collectibles. Hope you're well out there. It's time for another action figure review here on the channel. And as you can see on the screen right now, today's installment is going to be taking a closer look at the Operation Monster Force Crimson Moon Division Sleepwalker, or as I prefer to call it, and many of you out there would prefer to call it, the Red Shadow Ripoff. So stick around, I'm going to give you all the ins and outs, ups and downs that you need to know. So if you've been thinking about spending your hard-earned cash on this bad boy, you'll be in a good position to make a solid decision that's right for you and your wallet. I'll talk you through the packaging experience and the peg presents if you're minting box. Then we'll take a closer look at the figure, talk about the aesthetic experience, the visual experience with it, walk through the articulation and posability, have a peek at all the accessories and added value, and by the end, you should have a very thorough overview of the Operation Monster Force Crimson Moon Division Sleepwalker. So let's get into it and let's jump back in time to visit past Chris, taking a look at the packaging on the day this arrived on my doorstep. Here on then, folks, here's the Crimson Moon dude. Soldier dude, what's it say on the side? Crimson Moon Division Sleepwalker, there you go. Arrived earlier today from Big Bad Toy Store along with my Obsidian Elite Guard dude as well. I don't know which one of the two I'll post first, but a quick look at the shelf presence of the packaging. And yeah, good stuff going on here. Got this nice, lovely, kind of mystical, occulty sort of tone to it, with a little retro vibe, bit of a steampunky vibe in there as well, with the artwork behind it there and the sort of sepia tones over the top, and then the nice digital render of the figure on the front. Then on the back, we've got an alternative digital render of the figure with... Oh, no, it's the same helmet. I know they said with a different helmet. Continuing the, you know, that kind of occulty, mystically tone to it all. A little bit of flavor text there, which I believe is the same as on the website, bit of cross-promotional stuff across the bottom. All fine and dandy, and again, all consistent within the packaging. The sides are pretty straightforward, bit bland, really, you know, just logos and the name of the figure, but nice if you, bookshelf your minting box figures there to have that kind of, that nice, neat sort of spine on it there. And then the front has the kind of book cover gatefold that's velcroed down. You can see the bits of velcro there. Got a little bit of comic book here on the inside to add a bit of storytelling and a bit of narrative understanding of the figures, bit of world building. Although I'll mention on both the videos, a little bit loath to show that because my man Lawrence got copyright claimed. And I don't know if that's the artwork he got copyright claimed for. And then, then the window there showing off the figure and all the included goodies. So a nice bit of like an interactive element for the folks who like minting box. But for me, I'm going to crack this open. So I'm going to go away, get this bad boy opened up, get a good bit of man-child playtime in, and then I'll return to share some review thoughts in a couple of days' time. So stick around, folks. Future Chris is going to be with you in 3, 2, 1. Okay then, folks, well, here is the Crimson Moon Division Sleepwalker as he came out of the packaging. And the first set of review thoughts I'm going to share with you around the aesthetic qualities of the figure, the visual experience. So take him in head to toe, a lot to like here. The first thing that strikes you, obviously, is the colour scheme. He's part of the Crimson Moon Division. He's, in crimson. Which is nice, but the colours are really lovely, really lovely. And one of the immediate things that struck me aesthetically is just the wash. Look at the wash all the way over. Every bit of this has been given just that little bit of extra detail and depth by applying a wash. So you've got that nice striking red, flash of crimson that gives it some shelf presence along with the black and white trimmings to really kind of accentuate that. But then they've just given it so much depth and texture with the wash, which I think is really amazing. But we'll take a closer look now. So bringing him a bit nearer to the camera then, let's start with the head sculpt there. This is one of 3 heads that come with the figure. We'll take a look at the other 2 in a short while, so stick around later on in the review for that. But this is the one that's on it when it comes out of the blister pack. This is the sort of standard uniformal one. The other Sleepwalker that I picked up has got the same design, that kind of skull motif there painted on with the white paint. Very striking, stands out really nice, but offsets those kind of glowing red goggly eyes, which gives it a real tone of menace and evil and unpleasantness, which is nice to see. Lovely, lovely. And then all the sculpted details in there, like this front grille and the breather bits there, although we'll revisit these later on as well. This little gem bit on the front, and then the helmet. You can see all those dints and knocks and scrapes from seeing action, and the wash over the top of that has really brought that to life. The only thing that really stood out to me with regards to this head in particular is that my the little fin piece there, you can see it's a little bit squiff at the top there, which I'll obviously rectify with a bit of heat, but I left it as is for the purposes of the review. As you move further down the figure, you can see that attention to detail is continued throughout. Got the little collar pins, insignias there, nice paint applications, the Sleepwalker Crimson Moon logo, then all the individual painted studs and buttons on his jacket. The pockets are sculpted in, the collar on the jacket sculpted in. I really love, I mentioned this with the other Sleepwalker, it's obviously the same body sculpt. Really love how there's this little kind of pull-in, this little sculpted sort of pulling texture detail where the buttons are done up on the front. I think that's a really lovely eye for detail there. A sculpted belt buckle there, which is painted as well with a sculpted in kind of like a evil eye thing there, which I think is the is it the Forgotten One, the Evil Egyptian God dude, on the belt buckle there. But yeah, and then the wash, of course, again throughout, which I mentioned earlier, just really giving it some depth. It's wonderful. That texture detail is just everywhere as well, like a bit of texture on the shoulder pad here. We then got the way the fabric, the jacket sort of bunches up where he's pulled his glove up across the top. Then all these paint applications, these little trimming sections on the gloves as well, just to give it some depth and bring it to life, and the different textures in there. Same with the trousers, got all the texture detail in the trousers. And again, that wash just really bringing it to life. And then the leather boots are super, super shiny. The dude's been, meeting his uniform code and making sure he's got lovely polished boots. And it's like that all the way around. Like you can see on the back here, the paint applications on the belt are a bit sloppy, but all that texture detail is still here. We've got these little epaulettes at the top, which are painted in and sculpted in with the studs on them too, with the paint applications, which is all really lovely to see. They've continued the jacket design with this little kind of rubbery skirt piece underneath as well. I'm not always the biggest fan of these. They're not too bad on these Fresh Monkey Fiction ones. I've been much more critical of them in the past. The other Sleepwalker I got didn't do this, but this one, this swivels around. It moves a lot, so just be mindful of that when you're kind of setting up a photo and you realise that the bottom of his jacket's just like really really odd and misaligned. So yeah, that's, you have to sort of straighten it a bit like that, you see. What's particularly nice about this added extra piece at the bottom as well, though, is that they've managed to keep a kind of colour and texture continuity. The tone of it all remains the same. I think that's one of the things that's stood out for me in the past with like G.I. Joe Classified when they do these bottom pieces, is that you have like a colour match problem, whereas this is really, really nice. So it's got a good kind of militaristic vibe. The uniform there is obviously very evocative of your sort of World War II axis of evil powers, your kind of Nazi party uniform type thing, but still managing to maintain that little bit of a culty, supernaturally edge to it with things like the helmet. And then, of course, when we strap on all the equipment, you've got that sort of retro futuristic vibe as well. So that's working to its favour. So aesthetically, as far as the visual experience goes, yep, thumbs up from me. Nice bit of striking flash of red on the shelf to give it some presence. Really excellent attention to detail. Nice kind of tone and vibe and storytelling with that kind of militaristic but retro-futuristic occulty thing that's going on. All very appealing. I'm enjoying it a great deal, and I've been playing with him loads the last couple of days. So absolutely a thumbs up on the visual experience. Okay, so there we go. There's what he looks like. Let's now take a look at the articulation and poseability. So getting started up top then, we've got ball inside the head, ball at the bottom of the neck, and a hinge on the neck, which gives you really good down, really great up, lots of swivel and tilt and room to maneuver there, which is really great. Moving further down, we've got a butterfly joint in the shoulder there, which gives you a little bit of shuffle forward and back, but the way the jacket is sculpted over the top kind of gets in the way of your range of motion there. And then it's pegged in shoulder with a hinge, which means you can get out to the T shape. You can do your full 360 like that. You're all good in that on that front. Got a swivel there at the top of the bicep and tricep. Pinless double elbow that'll get you up to there. And then pegged in hands there can swivel all the way around at the wrist. And then these particular hands that it had in packaging have got forward and backwards hinges. But we'll take a look again at some other bits because there's loads of hand swaps and they've all got different hinges, to line up with the type of hand gesture that he's doing. That sounded rude. Barbell joint in the middle there, giving you some swivel and tilt and, that kind of motion there. Your crunch forward and back's not fantastic, but you definitely got really great swivel and motion. Ball joints at the hips there, not drop down joints though, but you've got, you can swivel them on the spot. You can get out there for a ballerina. The little lower jacket piece is a bit obstructive for going forward though. Got a swivel there at the top of the thigh. The thigh swivel on this guy was extremely crunchy out the box. Had to do a lot of remedial heat action, hot water baths, hair drying, just again and again and again. And on this side, the other leg's still really iffy, still really tight and iffy. Then you got your double knee up to there. Got a boot cut at the top of the boot, and then hinge and rocker on the feet at the ankles. So yeah, it's decent. It's solid articulation, and I say this all the time. The fact that I had to do a lot of heat treatment on mine, particularly with those thigh cuts, that's just with mine. I can't speak for anybody else's. That could just be the one I get. I'm starting to think that when I get them on import, when I get stuff flown over, and they come in on a plane in the airmail, maybe going into the sky, something to them. I don't know. But the articulation is decent. Wide range of possibility with the posing, aside from that kind of crunchy joint challenge that I faced, means that, yeah, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Good centre of gravity there as well. Look at that. He's basically on one foot there. So there we are. There's articulation. Let's now get into the accessories. Clear your diaries, folks, because there's a lot to go through. But let's have a look at the accessories and added value. And we'll get started with the head swaps first. This is the first of two that are included in the packaging. This is certainly the one that caught my eye, the one that was strongly inspired by the Action Force Red Shadow villains there, with the helmet design and this face mask and the little slitty eyes. Lots of like here. You can see that they've carried on and continued to use the wash to really give it some texture and depth. Got some battle damage marks and stuff, a big chunk taken out the back there. Got the really kind of evil, menacing vibe coming from those little tiny white eyes on the black visor. Got the orders symbol, nice neat paint application on the front. But yeah, look at all this kind of battle damage and stuff all around the helmet there, which is really nice. And then some lovely sculpted details for this little kind of interface here at the back, which has got the plug-in holes. I'll talk about those in just a moment. Next, then, we've got this one here, which is a really interesting one. It's got a kind of, World War I in the trenches gas mask vibe about it, which I suppose, again, is evoking these kind of dark themes, dark tones of these nasty, evil troopery dudes. This has got a couple of plug-in sections here on the side there as well. I'll revisit those in just a moment, but aesthetically, again, you can see a bit of that kind of gunmetal wash that's been applied to things like the grills and the front of the mask. Got those really dark, soulless, intimidating, glowing eye sockets on it there. Got the lovely wash and the battle damage dints across the helmet, and then each one of these kind of nailed in studs or whatever they are, rivets, are individually painted as well, which is really great to see. And I must admit, this head was the one I was least interested in when I very first saw the designs, but has become, I've been playing around with it. I took some really interesting photos with this one the other day. Just something about it. It's just, I find it very evocative, great for storytelling. Then we have 3 additional pairs of hands to go with the figure. We've got the evil claws, one for the left and one for the right. Trigger fingers, again, one for the left and one for the right. And 2 closed fists, one for the left and the right. So giving you, 4 pairs of hand combinations there that you can use to open up your wide range of possibility, your posing possibility, whatever you might be trying to do. Then he's got a couple of ray gun weapony bits in his loadout there. So we've got this kind of rifle here. You can again see all the lovely sculpted detail on this and the gunmetal kind of paint wash over it. Then the individual paint applications like the little red and silvery bits up here, the brown front handle there, the grip, and the paint applications on the magazine there. Really interesting. I'm not so much into these designs, these sort of steampunky kind of retro-futuristic style design. I mentioned on the other Sleepwalker review that I understand what they're doing here. They're trying to give it that flavour of its own, that kind of own personality with this sort of occult, again, the occult retro-futuristic thing that they're trying to do with the whole Operation Monster Force storyline. And you can't dispute the quality of the sculpt there. It's just not my cup of tea. And that's the same with the handgun. Again, great. Got the gunmetal wash over it, the individual paint applications for the sort of ray gunny effect that's in there. Just really wonderful. All the barrels have got blast effect holes. Really lovely. It's just not my cup of tea. Speaking of blast effects, there's a selection of those as well in there. Got these like kind of shooty blast effects. Got some like little sort of ray gunny electricity kind of things, and then a little wisp of gun smoke post, shooty shoot thing. So that's all good and fine. Lovely little selection. These are all right. They're okay. They're a bit bent and a bit wobbly, but again, opens up your options, opens up your range of storytelling, which is always great to see. Then we've got the backpack here, which is continuing that sort of retro-futuristic steampunk style aesthetic. Lovely paint applications and sculpted details on there. I really love it when they put the effort into things like the backpacks as well. Pegs in on the back there. And you can see there's loads of these like little plug-in holes too, just like the back of the helmets and in the breather masks, which I'll talk about imminently, but that's a lovely piece of work, that. And of course, all those peg holes, all those interface points that we have on the helmets, on the backpack, on the side of the gun, are all then tied together by all these extra little bitty bits that they've chucked in, like loads of different tubes of different lengths, different plug-in bits, pegs to lock them in. So all those little areas that you've seen, I mean, for the interest of time in the video, I can't go through all the options, but you've just got this huge range of customization that you can then play around with. So if you wanted to, you could like plug in one of these hoses here and then like, plug it in here at the back of this helmet, the Red Shadow style helmet there, or you can bring it round and plug it into the side of the gun here. See that little plug point there? On the other two heads, you've got those sections here on the breather masks that you can pull out like so, and then if you want to plug in a different bit like that, to change the aesthetic or mix it up, or have one of these pipes plugged into his face mask. You've got little right angled pieces to interact with it, little spinny disc things, whatever, you can just play around and make the aesthetic of the character suit your tastes, So there you go, just did a bit of playing around off camera. I've kind of put a peg in the side there to plug the pistol in through the trigger guard, little bit here on the bottom, and then plug, a few pipes and whatever, you just play around as you see fit. Then you have this little armband that comes with it, got the again the sort of Order of the Crimson Moon logo on it, little paint applications, little rivet studs, different texture on the strap, all kind of sculpted detail that you can just like roll up one of his arms. And then finally, you got the foot stand here. Got the Operation Monster Force logo punched into it. It's got a kind of gravestone motif design thing, so you can sort of use it standing up like that behind figures if you want. Or you can peg them in and stand them on it with the name of the character on the front. You've got the pegs there. Got all this cracked kind of stuff. Foot stands are just cool and useful and great for displaying. So very appreciative of that. So clearly it's a thumbs up on the accessory selection. It's just added value, all told, full stop. There's just tons of stuff in the packaging, and certainly justifies the slightly higher cost when compared to things like G.I. Joe Classified series. I love the customization, I love the head swaps, love the hand swaps. It's just got tons of stuff in there. Okay, so there's some design choices that I'm not a big fan of, but that's a personal preference thing. I'm just not into the guns. They're certainly very well made, well sculpted, well painted, all the stuff you'd look for. So yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about the accessories and added value. They just really open up a world of possibility and let you play around with your figure in your way. And I've had loads of fun and been fiddling around with them a lot. And what more do you want? You want fun with your figures, don't you? You know what I mean? So there you go. There's the accessory selection. Right, let's take a look at this guy next to a few other figures, mostly G.I. Joe Classified. Okay, here you go then. So here's the Sleepwalker next to a Crimson Guardsman and the new retro cardback Cobra Commander. Arguably, I mentioned this on the other Sleepwalker review, arguably the spiritual successors of the Red Shadow aesthetic and design there. You can see they're a reasonably good fit together, although tonally, I'm noticing a bit of a tonal difference in the quality of the paint wash over these Fresh Monkey Fiction Operation Monster Force figures make these stand out as a bit more plasticky, to be honest. Here he is next to a Valorverse Action Force. This is the Covert Ops Condor, the token trade-in figure. Yeah, again, tonally very, very different, but sort of scale-wise and stuff, everything's fine. The head on this looks and feels quite big, quite chunky. And then finally, here he is next to the Elite Guardsman Sleepwalker. Obviously, you can see there that it's the same book, it's the same design, and I've gone all in on the nostalgically inspired helmets there with both of them. But yeah, really good fit. They definitely look like a right menacing pair, don't they? There, and I can see these being a very appealing army builder to some folks for sure. Okay then, folks, well, here's Sleepwalker going around on the turntable, so you can get a nice 360 view while I just offer up some final thoughts. And what's there to say? You know, Fresh Monkey Fiction have come out the gate swinging. It was a long wait for these, but now that they've arrived, I'm very, very happy with them. I picked up two, as you've seen. I've got the Elite Guardsman and this guy as well. I'm generally going to stick to the more military related ones that can kind of slot in with my other stuff, or you know, twanging those nostalgia heartstrings for me around the Action Force type stuff. You know, so the Crimson Moon stuff that they've got planned for 2025 really caught my eye. But yeah, the only criticism I've got, really, largely speaking, is the articulation problems. They both needed a massive amount of heat treatment. This guy, even more than the Elite Guardsman, really had to hairdry the hell out of his legs to even get a modicum of movement out of the thigh cut there, and the shoulders were stiff and stuff. So that was a bit of a pain, a bit of a disappointment, because you just want to play with your stuff straight away. But like I said before, that might have just been mine. I can't speak to others' experience on that. But everything else is a thumbs up. You know, it's 3 straight up thumbs up. Aesthetics great, articulation's solid, decent, and the accessory selection is just like mind-blowingly fun. And what more do you want? Like I said before, you know, you just want to have fun with your figures, and I've had loads of fun with these guys. I really like them, and I can see myself playing with them a lot, over and over and over again, for the coming weeks, months, and years to come. So yeah, definitely a Mod Extra Games and Collectibles recommends. All right, well, hopefully I'll give you enough thoughts, and I've been thorough enough there that if you've been thinking about picking one up for yourself, you can, you know, justify spending your hard-earned cash on it, or if you've, you know, been on the fence, I might have helped you go the other way. Either works for me. That's what I'm here for, is to help you make those decisions. But if you have found the review useful, of course, do all the YouTubey stuff. Make sure you hit the like. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But all that really remains for me to say is that I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming and hanging out. Just 100 away from 2,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. It's absolutely insane. There's nearly 2,000 of you out there who bothered to listen to me. You mad people, you lunatics. Anyway, hope you have a great day, folks. Hope you have a great week, and I'll see you around these parts again sometime soon for another video, all right? Take it easy.